Hello, this week on Battle of the Ports we are once again taking a look at a classic pre-Neo Geo SNK game. This is 1989's Street Smart. Now it's easy to scoff at this game now, but remember, this was released before Street Fighter 2 was a thing. The gameplay is kinda like a scrolling beat 'em up, where the player can move in all 8 directions, but now you're kinda stuck in one area, just like a one-on-one fighter. You can kick, punch, jump, or do special moves, but don't expect any projectile style moves. For an arcade game of 1989, the graphics are quite good. Some very large sprites are used for some characters, and we do get some nice use of colour as well. The audio is fine, but nothing stands out apart from the rip-off Blues Brothers introduction theme on the title screen. The goal of the game is to travel around America, beating on whoever rises to your challenge. Win the match and get the girl. Throughout the game I noticed references to SNK's first true one-on-one fighter, Fatal Fury. We have a stage that could be Sound Beach, and Big Bear's truck stop from Fatal Fury 2. There's a fat guy in the background that looks like it could be an early version of Chen Shinzan. An old guy that could be Tung Furu, and you fight a guy that could easily be an early version of Richard Meyer, and also a possible Big Bear wannabe. Street Smart these days is basic and, well, kind of crappy, but back in 1989 it was quite entertaining. On July 19th, 1991, Street Smart got its only true port, and that was to Sega's Mega Drive. The port was developed and published by Retrocore. As you can clearly see, the game looks far more basic than the arcade game. The sprites are actually tiny, but don't look as bad as they truly are, due to the game featuring top and bottom black bars. Plus, the player and enemy data is shown in another bar, eliminating the gameplay window even more. Actually, let's zoom in on the actual gameplay window. Yeah, that's quite shocking. Besides not looking much like the arcade game, it also has a twist in the gameplay. The game implements a betting system where players can win money for winning a fight, or throwing one, as well as a new last boss. There's also a new spinning power move that can take enemies down in one hit, but reduces the player's health. There are 3 endings to the game, depending upon if the player is broke or not when the final boss is defeated. Should players be broke, the final image is that of the player in rags, sitting in the gutter. Winning with a respectable amount of money will see the character well dressed in a fashionable car with an attractive girlfriend. If the character earns an outstanding amount of money, usually gained by gambling all winnings on the player to win before each round, he is shown as a made man with 4 girls in an apartment full of money. A final difference between the arcade original and its Mega Drive port is that at the end of each fight, the player is granted points, which can be assigned to the character's attributes. The player can gain larger life bar, greater power, or more defense. Unfortunately, even with the extras, Street Smart on the Mega Drive is pretty weak in terms of gameplay. It lacks the oomph of the arcade, and that hardly had any to start off with. It also feels different when playing. I'd probably give this a miss. Now, I don't normally cover emulated versions of games because they aren't ports, but since Street Smart only ever got one real port, I'm taking a look at this PSP release, which can be found on the SNK Arcade Classics 0. Now, the only reason I'm covering this is because according to somewhere on the net, I'm sure I read it slowed down quite badly, but you know what? I can't notice any slowdown. What I can notice is how the screen shimmers on the horizontal plane when selecting the full screen mode. So it's best to play this with the surrounding borders. Besides that and a slightly off sound emulation, this is a good version to play on the move. And let's take a look at all those versions of Street Smart running side by side.